Hello everyone, this is Tom from Dirk Witte Music Store in Utrecht, the Netherlands. And today we are taking a look at this beautiful Gibson Montana Custom Shop 1960 Hummingbird in a beautiful Heritage Cherry Sunburst finish. So a recreation of the very first year of the Gibson Hummingbird, which was introduced in 1960. Gibson's first square shoulder acoustic guitar. Up until that point they had the J45, which was a slope shoulder dreadnought, and they had the J200, but they did not have a square shoulder acoustic yet. So this is the very first one for Gibson, and yeah, I mean, by now it is really quite one of the most iconic acoustic guitars, not just for Gibson but just in general. And I mean, it has been played by a ton of players, most notably probably being Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, and yeah, also then Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones, and many more, for good reason, because this is a fantastic sounding and playing and also looking acoustic guitar. So yeah, it features some really cool and unique type of specs, which then go back to the very first year of this model, 1960. So yeah, let's dive into the specs right now. We've got an all solid wood construction. We've got a solid Sitka spruce top, which is also thermally aged. So what that means is that this top has been artificially dried out by Gibson in the Gibson Montana factory in order to speed up the aging process and make this model sound more vintage right out of the box, sound more broken in. We've also got some really beautiful wood figuring on the top. We've got this really cool kind of dark streak going here at the seam line, where the two halves of the top meet. And also if I kind of move it around like this, you can definitely see that there's some wood figuring and some dancing going on over there. You've obviously also got the also iconic Gibson Hummingbird pickguard in this celluloid material. This Hummingbird has been engraved and it just looks super classy and beautiful. You've then got solid mahogany back and sides. Also got some really cool wood figuring going on over there. You've got some multiply binding around the top as well as on the back. On the top we've got some 7-ply binding, and then on the back we've got some 5-ply binding. The entire model, by the way, is also done in this really thin nitro finish, making this an incredibly touch sensitive and resonant acoustic guitar, which then responds to really the lightest touch. We've got a rosewood bridge with a bone saddle, and the bone saddle is fixed, and this is not accurate, if you will, because back in the day in 1960 up until all the way through the 1960s, I think, and maybe even beyond that, this model came with an adjustable bridge, which you can then heighten or lower depending on your taste. But according to a lot of people, that really wasn't all that great when it comes to the tone, because you would then get the saddle that kind of floats in between the strings and the bridge plate, which again, according to a lot of people, does not give you the best tone possible. And it really also wasn't used or popular all that much. And so for this model they decided not to revive that and just give it a more traditional fixed bone saddle. We've got some bone bridge pins, and then as for the scale length, we've got 24 inches and 3/4. So from saddle to nut it is 24 3/4 of an inch. Making this a little bit shorter than let's say a Martin D18. So that really makes the Hummingbird a bit more unique when it comes to the tone as opposed to a D18. We've got a mahogany neck with a really nice, just an even C profile. A little bit more chunky than I would say more modern style necks, but still very comfortable nonetheless. Very nicely rounded. We also got some really cool cream binding with some really cool faux tortoiseshell dot side markers. Got a rosewood fingerboard that's also looking really beautiful with some really nice streaking. Hopefully you can see that. And then we've got the split parallelogram inlays, also very much Hummingbird-esque. Then we've got a bone nut, and then we've got your Gibson headstock overlay with your Gibson logo done in mother of pearl. And then we have got some Godot Keystone Clusen style tuners. And then last thing to mention, it also comes with a really sweet hard showcase with a yellow interior. And yeah, it is just a really phenomenal Gibson Hummingbird reissue of like the very first Hummingbird that just sounds and plays and looks fantastic, as you'll hear so in a second. But first, if you are interested in this Gibson Montana Custom Shop 1960 Hummingbird, be sure to head over to the links in the description for further details. If you enjoyed this demo, be sure to like it and to subscribe to the channel for more cool weekly demos of beautiful acoustics like these, or cool electrics, basic guitars, amplifiers even, of that really cool stuff. Also be sure to like us and follow us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook. Links are also in the description. With all that being said, let's see what this Gibson Montana Custom Shop 1960 Hummingbird sounds like. I'm going to be playing you some chords and then some lead style playing so that you can get a good impression of what this beautiful Hummingbird sounds like. So let's get to that part and take it for a spin.